Back with you. First things first, hot off the press, we have our new ethanol production numbers for this week. And let's take a look at what the ethanol production actually turned out to be. It didn't change a whole lot from the number that we had a week ago. It came out to be 1.013 million barrels per day. That was only a decline of 1,000 barrels a day from last week. So the 4-week average is now 1.024 million barrels a day. Ethanol stocks did decline by 100,000 barrels to 22.6 million, and the imports went back to zero after they were at 36,000 last week. So that's the latest on the ethanol production. Well, let's see what the grain markets are up to. We'll start with the corn, and our quotes provided by bar charts show a little slippage here in the corn market after a higher open. December corn down 2 1/4. We're at 549.5 per bushel right now. In our soybean trade, you currently have the September up 7 at 13.30 3/4, and you have November new crop up a nickel at 13.24 3/4. So we're about a nickel away from our high from last night. Now let's take a look at this wheat market. There's been a little bit of jockeying around, if you will, in position in the wheat between the three exchanges this week. And currently, September Chicago wheat has gone back to 7.25 1/4. It had some pretty large gains there for a while, and it's given almost all that back. We gave back about almost 14 cents now. We're a ½ cent higher is all for the time being in Chicago. Now in Kansas City, you have September 2 3/4 lower at 7.04 3/4. That's off its overnight high by 14 cents. And in Minneapolis spring wheat, you have September currently down 7 1/4 at 9.12 1/2. And in the cotton market, new crop December 34 points higher. Look at that, 90.21 cents per pound. Todd Bubba Horowitz joins us right now. He's with BubbaTrading.com. Todd, the market's kind of having a hard time hanging on to early gains here on the grain sector or the crop markets. What's weighing on them from your perspective today?
Good morning, Marlon. Well, I don't think it's anything more than just a market that is stuck in a couple of ranges, up and down, and they're going to swing in illiquid, thin markets based on what we perceive as the weather from day to day. And this is typical summer, August trade, that there is nothing to trade and there's nobody really trading, so you get these moves back and forth. But in the meantime, we have really had no major violations to the downside, and wheat is actually broken out to the upside. So at the end of the day, the picture looks pretty good going forward, and I still think we're going to have a very solid third and fourth quarter, and I look for much higher prices, although you could see corn maybe come down a little bit further before it starts to move to the upside.
Todd, we had a story yesterday that they are already harvesting corn, of course, in parts of Texas. And I know it's not the largest producing area, but it does make one wonder how long it's going to be before that pipeline starts filling up for new crop grain. And if that would be the case, how long will it be before we start to see the basis starting to collapse a bit?
Well, Marlon, I don't know that we're going to see. Remember, we've got so many things going on that should lead to higher prices to begin with. Plus, everything looks good, and with the economy going, even with some of the issues full steam ahead, I think demand is going to remain high, and I think we're not going to have, issues we've seen in the past because of the sudden opening and everything happening at one time, which, we weren't quite equipped to handle, and I think we're going to see prices continue to move up on almost under any circumstances unless we get a technical breakdown, which we have not had as of yet.
Okay, well, thank you, Todd. Appreciate the comments today. Todd Bubba Horowitz of BubbaTrading.com in Chicago. Now, we'll take a break right here. We'll come back, and we'll take a look at our livestock trade right after this. Well, as promised, let's take a look at our livestock trade and get you updated on current quotes in the futures market. We'll start with our live cattle market. And right now, we have everything trading higher on the day. Isn't this interesting how this thing just chops around back and forth and back and forth? Now we're almost on the high of the day. So we have the October contract now at 128.52, and that would be up 37 cents on the day. Right now we're only, we're within 2 ticks of our high of the day. We currently have December live cattle in there at 133.45. That would be a nickel off of its high of the day. We're now up 25 cents. And for those of you viewing at home or on RFD TV now, you will note that the nearby contracts are showing bigger gains than the deferreds are. So they continue to try and narrow up that spread a little bit here. there has been quite a bit of disparity with the deferred contracts at quite a premium to the nearbys. Now let's take a look at the feeder cattle market. We currently have the September contract in there at 162.72. So we're 20 cents higher on the day, and it's a whole different story than what it was earlier. We had been as low as 162.10 there. So we came from about 30 cents down to now about 25 cents higher. And you currently have the October feeders 20 higher at 165.25. Well, lean hogs have had quite a wild ride here this week, and we have the October contract taking a breather. We have it trading at 90.77. That's down 60. We have a high on the day of 91.72. So we've come off of that by nearly $1 now. At one point we were higher. December down 42 at 83.82 per hundredweight. I wanted to check and see if there was anything going on as far as the cash cattle trade out in the country today. Nothing going on just yet. I still hear a lot of asking prices over 122 or so in the Southern Plains. It looks like we did have some sales yesterday on a dressed basis in the north at 197 per hundredweight. That would basically be steady with what we had the day before. Cash hog market has been interesting too. Across the country, we didn't really have enough to establish a market trend or nothing to compare it to from the day before, but it did have an average price yesterday. This is on a live basis of $79.68 yesterday. You go to the carcass basis hogs and they were weaker. They were down 60 cents per hundredweight at $100.40. But I will point out the beef cutout values yesterday on the wholesale market, they had strong gains yet again. And that seems to overall being supportive to this livestock trade on the cattle complex. We had choice cuts up 484 yesterday. Selects were up 411. That was in the afternoon update. Janet, we will get some new numbers on these wholesale trades in about an hour from right now.